Good morning to Friday's live trading. Hopefully you're going to get a trade this morning or today at some point. It's gone off a little bit without us at the moment, but I'm just going to talk through where we are, so bear with me. So let's just recap where Euros run this morning. It's just when I was looking pre 8 o'clock or around about 8 o'clock, it was sitting around these highs here. It has pushed up towards its R1. I'm not really keen on taking a short against this sort of bigger move at this stage. Now it's showing on my one of my indicators that it's overbought, but there's a little I can do here whilst it's still pushing upwards. And if you come down the shorter time frames, you just see it did have a little retrace, just about 8:15, just 8:20, but not convincing. No real sort of, it just a single bar down and then it's off to the races again, so not a lot that can be done there at the moment. So let's just switch through cable. Don't really trust cable too much. It's been a bit of a choppy animal, but it's and you can see 5 minute wise it's just really a mess. It got oversold down here pre 8 o'clock. I don't like trading before. It's back into its 30-minute 50. I might be looking on the short side on it, but with the euro still flying and this 30-minute 50 being tested twice before, it's probably not the best, and it's got an untouched daily pivot above, so at the moment it might push up towards that, and it may be worth having a bit of patience. If this was to come back together with a peak in the euro and it all starts rolling, then I'd feel more comfortable. Okay, dollar yen. Yen is the strongest, one of the strongest ones at the moment, just coming out here. It's been really selling off the dollar yen here. It's a move to safety, is a move to the yen anyway. Plus, we're seeing that a possible bit of weakness there, but in the dollar, but only against some currencies, and mainly the euro and the yen. So not a lot I can do with that at the moment. It's just sort of really running. It's, again, I don't want to be trying to catch the knife here. If it pulls back, I'll look for any retracements, but nothing there at this stage. Aussie dollar, commodity country, currency even, whichever. But sold off through the Asian session there, but weak figures coming out overnight as well. Struggling somewhat. Any retracements may offer opportunities to sell, but well, it started again this morning, but only to sell so far and not into anything in any key resistance. So leaving that alone, and that's Canadian dollar. I'll look at it, but it's not something I intraday trade. It's too risky. It's sitting around the highs here. Maybe it's going to push off as I speak, but it's still not a currency I particularly like trading intraday. It's already pushed through S1 into the daily S2. The statistics would suggest that, well, the probability S3 is only about 10%, so maybe it will push up there on such circumstances, but not looking good. Now I'm going to have a quick flick through oil and gold. Let's look at gold first here, and gold was earlier a couple of days we've had up days, but it's again a bit like back here in early January, and it was just getting this sort of choking point a little bit. Not necessarily seeing a lot of money running into gold here, and you look at this 4 hourly and it's probably showing me, well, yeah, it could actually roll. It looks like it could almost roll from where it's doing this price action it's doing here, and we really don't like what I'm seeing here even on the hourly, so leave that alone. Oil, just have a quick look at oil, and well, you see oil's it's really pushing down. Now we've heard that the Saudis are looking to suggest people cut oil production even further, but that's not even caused a blip here, or it may have. That may have been said then, but barely a blip, and it's just selling off here. The consolidator around these lows at the moment, it might have some more downside, but again, it's already down to its S1. S2 only got a 20% chance of this happening, so it's low stats to the downside. S&Ps, now the S&Ps obviously had a hammering, and they're still having a hammering. Come back to the dailies, everyone's talking about these, and I think there's so many people wanting to be short on the S&P, and eventually they're getting their way, and it's really I say the S&Ps, but the equity markets in general, they're getting quite a hammering here, selling off, and the 4-hourly just continuing to see retracements back to that 4-hourly 8 seemed like a good sell point at the moment. Maybe even the 30-minute 21 that's gone this morning, but consolidating again around the S1, so it's already pushed down so far. Gives us less potential, but we'll see on this. Okay, so nothing right now. Okay, so nothing set up first thing this morning. I'm just looking through, coming back from my morning break, and well, we've seen the euro and the pound pulling off a little bit. Euro just working its way back. It was overbought a little bit this morning, but with the extreme sort of reading on the earlier higher time frames, wasn't too sure whether this would develop into more upside, but it's softened, it's rolled over at the moment, but just really coming back to its sort of 30-minute 20 sort of zone, so may see a bounce from this sort of level. If it does, it could roll back towards those highs there, so just watching that carefully at the moment, because I really wanted to be on the long side if it was going to give me some long side. I'll have to reassess that in a minute though. Cable still looking soft here. It did have, again, had a push up this morning, ran it through its daily pivot there, rolled over a little bit now, and is looking like it's maybe got some further downside back to these prior lows, maybe more. Let's just have a look at the 60-minute chart here. S1's not a million miles away. They're at 28.50 sort of zone. There's a possibility on that pound. Certainly those lows there at 28.60 possible, but just reassessing at the moment. Dollar yen had sold off this morning. Yeah, not much of a retrace since then either. Barely a retrace, so just not really so interested in that at the moment. And the Aussie and CAD, Aussie was. Let's just have a look. That's gone back again, sold back off again, and continued in that route. So leaving the steering clear of that. So questions really here is whether the euro will bounce and continue its upside pattern. As I said, it extremed up here. Might see it move back towards that sort of 1040 area, maybe a bit more. So we're just watching this at this stage. Just if I can get the mouse to see where else we might get to, 1045-ish. So just watching this for a moment and see if we get a reversal. Okay, so just to clarify, we just got this move back on the euro back to its 60.21 sort of zone here, to 60.20. I'm just looking to see if it breaks the high of this previous candle. If it does, I'm going to be looking to take a long position back towards this morning's highs, but let's just wait for a moment and see if it does that. So just pausing at this stage. So I've got a ticket here ready to see if this pushes up just a fraction more. I'm looking to buy the euro around about 10.15, 10.14 sort of price maybe. As soon as I said that, it's dropping back down again. So okay, so the euro here, it's just not setting up as I wanted. It's just rolling down. I'm just looking across here at the order book, and there are quite a lot of sell orders sitting just below there, and I'm just wondering whether we're just going to go on a bit of a stop hunt here to fill those in at what they're sitting at 99.09, 97 sort of area, so down back towards this pivot level here. So Might just chase down there. It's not worth trying to be buying into this moving average as much as quite like buying into moving averages at times. Just not worth it. And with this little 5-minute pattern, it's, as I say, not at all convincing. Almost like a bearish army sort of sitting there and follow through. So in fact, there's a very small 5-minute pivot swing sitting there. So we'll stay out for the moment. So just looking to sell on this euro. I'm selling at this point here actually, so selling the euro. I need a major stop on this. It's just run through the stop. Would probably be just above these prior highs here. So 14 is probably a bit too much than needed. Probably only 10 would be good. There's a 20 pip stop on there at the moment. Looking that will drop though. Looking back at the daily pivot here at 10 at 10.96963. So looking at this level down here on the short side there. So positions open. Just putting the target in. It's around about 30 pips, I think, maybe a bit less. 9060, so it's a bit about 28 pips. 62, yeah. So putting 27 pips to allow for a spread there. So just reviewing the trade here, it did eventually, after a bit of a retracement, sell off a little bit here, but it's very slow, and it's run into its 4-hourly 8 at this stage, or just around about that area, which is possibly giving it a bit of support. Just looking if we could see this break. I'm still looking at the daily pivot, which is a probability trade really, which I'm looking at here, but may look to see if part of it breaks through to that 60-minute 50. So keeping the options open at the moment. We'll see the reaction around this pivot. What I might do at this stage, I don't like to push it too quickly, but may start edging the stop down a little bit. I'm a little bit higher than I'd like to be anyway, but may take some of the risk out of this trade in case it bounces. Also got another pivot that's sitting here, so we've got a bundle of pivots all piled up one underneath the other here at this stage, which might in turn give some support, but I was just looking to see which one it is. It's one of the weekly pivots that's sitting below there, so it's giving some potential support there as well, but we'll see. But as I say, looking at maybe edging the stop down a few pips to above this 200 MA, just reduce the risk in the trade somewhat. So that will be moving the stop down to 110.04 from current 110.10. So it's just a 6 pip reduction in stop really. So just doing that now. Okay, so we just hit first target here. Now the opportunity is to either take the 27 pips here, or take 2/3 off at this level, I would say, or 3/5, whatever you're trading through, and then see if you can run part of it down to that 60.50. It's been slow, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So sitting around about 27 pips even here, looking to see if I can take the final third down to that 60.50. The probability trade was just hit as effectively at that pivot there. So that was the pivot. That's the probability trade. Now we're just playing for a slightly different probability through towards that 60.50. So that's what I'm looking at now. Stop wise, we can bring the stop down to break even. So that's where I'm sitting. And what I'll probably do is just literally, I'm just going to literally put the stop to break even, put that target in there, and walk away and leave it now. So that's going to end up my Friday's live trading. Sorry it's been a bit quiet, but I'll just run back to what we actually did today. We were looking initially this morning. I was looking back. It got overbought on the my signal came up on the 30-minute time frame up here this morning, but it was extreming on the RSI. I do not take it when it's extreming. I'll wait for a retrace. Now the retrace was shallow, didn't come back far enough, and then it did actually trigger probably a little bit earlier, but it was in my break time, so I wasn't here to do that. So you just trade what you can trade. But it did give us another trade, another opportunity to get short on it with the pivot below. It already passed through the original targets, would have been somewhere around the 30-minute 50, which is around this 5-minute 200. But with the daily pivot untouched below, that becomes a good target for me. So there was still some potential to trade in this. So we waited a little bit, got into a position there, and we've taken the first target off here, and as I said, I'm running it to see if it just gets a continuation. We've got lower highs, lower lows through this. There may be a bit of divergence kicking us through on the MACD the other way around potentially. Yep, it's no surprise there with that move back up in between. So this might be as far as it goes, so if you want to take all out you can do, but as I say, I'm just leaving part of the trade to run on through. So that's the end of my Friday video. Have a great week for you guys listening on the videos. Otherwise, I'll speak to you guys on Monday.